Good morning friends, welcome to Sharekhan pre-market roundup. Firstly on the global markets. Yesterday when we closed, most of the European markets were trading almost flattish, whereas the American markets futures were showing a 0.5% higher opening for the American markets. But by the end of the day, the Dow Jones closed up around 1%, that is up by around 190 points, whereas Nasdaq and the S&P also moved higher. European markets, which were flattish at the time of closing of our markets, were up across the board by 0.75 to 1.25% by the end of the day. Coming to our markets, after a lot of volatility yesterday, Nifty finally managed to close on a flat note thanks to banking stocks. As Bank Nifty was up by around 0.5%, we managed a flattish closing for all our major indices, that is Nifty, BSE and Bank Nifty. Day before yesterday, there was a huge selling figure in index futures, but yesterday it narrowed down to only 120 crore rupees. Now let's hear on derivatives.
Good morning friends, let's review on derivatives. Extending their southward journey for the fourth trading session, the Indian benchmark indices ended the yesterday's trade with a loss of approximately 26%. However, ignoring the mixed cues from the global markets, Nifty started the session on a flattish to positive note, but soon after the positive start, it started to trade with negative bias, as selling pressure was seen in many of the blue chip counters like Asian Paints, Hero MotoCorp, HDFC, Dr. Reddy, which were down in the range of 2% to 5% each, and due to which Nifty hit a fresh intraday low at around 8331 odd levels, and finally ended the session at 8351 levels with a loss of 0.26%. In this period, we have seen that for second day in a row, short positions were built up by market participants, as open indices increased by 6% from 2 crore 35 lakhs to 2 crore 49 lakhs. Approximately 14.06 lakh shares were added in open interest, and Nifty futures price decreased marginally by approximately 20 to 21 rupees. But Nifty cost of carry increased significantly by 16% from 4.96 to 30.54%, along with Nifty futures premium increased marginally from 12 points to 13 odd levels. On the options front, PCRS decreased by 2% from 0.92 to 0.90, which is clearly indicating that call option has seen good build-up in yesterday's trade. We have seen that call option has added approximately 30 lakh shares in open interest, whereas put option has added approximately 8 lakh shares in open interest, due to which we have seen that huge selling pressure was visible in the markets. India VIX was down by 2.78% and finally settled at 15.92%. In the options activity, we have seen that call option 8,300 strike price has added 44% shares in open interest, followed by 8,400 call option, which has added approximately 27% shares in open interest. On the put option side, we have seen that 8,300 put option has seen marginal unwinding in open interest activity, but 8,200 put option has added approximately 3% shares in open interest. Looking at the overall options activity, huge buildup was seen in call option of strike price 8,300, 8,400, which may act as a negative sign for the market going ahead, but on a closing basis, we may feel that 8300, 8320 may act as a good support. On bank period front, there are 5 securities in bank period today. One is MTech Auto, second is India Cement, third is CA, fourth is Century Textile, fifth is Jindal Steel. On FIs front, they were net sellers of 120 crore index futures, they were buyers of 659 crore index options, they were net sellers of 406 crore in stock futures, and they were net sellers of 26 crore in stock options. Friday CWEP stands at 8,500, high range would be 8,500 and lower range is 8,300. Currently, Singapore Nifty is down by 4.50 points, which is at 8339.50. We may see a marginal flattish to negative start in Nifty futures today. That's it from derivatives. Thank you.
Now let's have a look at some trading ideas for the day. The first trading idea being BASF. BASF came out with numbers yesterday. There was a profit growth of 78% with profit at 92.7 crore rupees versus 52 crore rupees YOY. Action to be taken is long BASF with a stop at 1135 for target at 1185 and 1200 rupees. PI Industries also came out with numbers yesterday. Company reported a net profit of 873 million for the quarter ended June 30, 2015 as compared to 717 million rupees for quarter ended June 30, 2014. Action to be taken is PI is long PI with a stop at 636 for target of 665 and 672. Standard Life has expressed interest in increasing stake in HDFC Life to 35%, which is 26% current, as an increase in stake will result in value unlocking from insurance and hence positive for HDFC Limited. Long HDFC Limited with a stop at 1281 for target of 1335 and 1350. Some important news flow for the day. Ethiopia may renew a key contract awarded to an Indian consortium led by state-owned power grid Corporation for managing its power sector. MTech wanted to sell shares to founders by preferential issue. PVR is looking to add 150 screens over a period of next 2 to 3 years under the low-cost brand called PVR Talkies. PNB has identified 400 willful defaulters and is looking to sell 3,000 crore rupees of NPA. IRB Infra Developers has said that subsidiary has tied up with for rupees 1400 crore funds to execute a project awarded by National Highway Authority of India. Kotak Bank, that is Kotak Mahindra International, has offloaded 3.51% stake in C8 valuing rupees 113 crore rupees through an open market transaction. Bank of Bhutan has selected TCS banks for core banking to power next generation banking services. Triveni Engineering Board has approved scheme of arrangement between company and Triveni Sugar and Triveni Industries. Hero MotoCorp will acquire certain tangible and intangible assets of US-based bankrupt partner Eric Buell Racing for 2.8 million, that is around 18 crore rupees. Government has imposed anti-dumping duty on Chinese CFL, that is Chinese compact fluorescent lamps. R Infra, two power discom subsidiaries, BSES, Yamuna and Rajdhani will face proceedings for list of violations from Delhi Electricity Regulatory Commission. As per media sources, some of the violations could result in penalties when tariffs are announced. This will be sentimentally negative for R Infra. Mahindra Holidays and Resorts will add 700 units in the next 2 to 3 years. It would cost around 525 crore rupees for the proposed expansion. Skipper came out with numbers yesterday. Numbers were good. Earnings jumped around 30% YOY and it was on the expected lines. The revenue also grew by around 28% to rupees 234 crore rupees. Some important results to come out today are SR Oil, NHPC, Yes Bank, Vedanta, UPL, Allahabad Bank, Dabur, Godrej, Emphasis Limited, Castrol, JSW, Steel, Vakko and Zydus. Stocks with positive bias for the day are Hindustan Petro, C8, Amara Raja Batteries. Stocks with negative bias are OBC, Syndicate Bank, Bharti and Dish TV. That's all friends from our side. Thanks and have a nice training session.